The new year can be a time to review and recommit to the goals that keep us going in the right direction. If you're looking for a burst of motivation, we have just the right guest for you today. The president of Young Living Essential Oils, Ben Riley, has come down to the studio to help us catch his enthusiasm for a new year and all it can bring. 2025 was an amazing year, and now let's get ready for how great 2026 is going to be. Hello and welcome to Young Living's podcast, The Wild Drop. My name is Jacob Young, your host. Young Living is the world leader in producing and distributing premium essential oils, and this podcast will provide you with drops of information about Young Living, including stories, history, product information, lots of little fun facts, and even more. Well, Ben Riley, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a while since we've last had you, and it's always a pleasure and an honor, and you're such a great presenter and speaker, and everyone just loves listening to you.
Oh.
But we are so excited to have you to kind of just talk about year's end and just what we want to set our sights on for 2026.
Well, I'm thrilled to be back, Jacob. First of all, thanks for having me back. I always wonder after our last conversation if that's the last one. So I'm glad I haven't worn out my welcome just yet. But yeah, I'm excited to be talking about what's been a really great year. And of course, the new year is always really exciting because you think about the new opportunities and what that new year holds, the promise of it. So yeah, great to be here and talking to you about both the great year we've had together and an exciting year upcoming.
Yeah, it's crazy how time has flown by. I feel like yesterday we just celebrated and had a convention and just had Fall Festival last week, but actually it was quite a while ago. So
yeah, time just goes. And they say time flies when you're having fun, so I guess that means we're having a lot of fun, doing a lot of good, lots of work to be done, and yeah, it's kind of fun to do it together. You realize that we're now piling up some years together in this business, so it's really fun.
It's really fun. So for you, for this year, what would you say you've enjoyed the most? And I think it's always good to talk about kind of like maybe you personally, but obviously with you being the president of the business, kind of what you see as strengths are, weaknesses, opportunities, and then of course, like what are my threats, right?
Well, first of all, if I think about some of the highlights of the prior year, I think a big one is honestly the chance we've had to work more closely together. So you've obviously stepped into a much bigger role in this business, and I enjoy that. I like working together. I like seeing the way you've kind of grown into this business and into your roles and your opportunities. And it gives a lot of hope and excitement, inspiration to our staff, and I think to our field leadership. That's been really, really cool. And I think we're going to see even more in 2026. So looking forward to that. I'm excited about our product. I think we continue to do really, really cool product work, both by using, I think, cutting-edge technology and innovation in the space of natural wellness, as shown by things like our Daily Hormone Essentials, a new product we're going to launch. I almost said it, but
yeah,
we're all about it right now, talking about it. Super excited. It's a very innovative product, meeting people's needs, but also has a lot of Young Living innovation in it as well. Things like Deep Spectra.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see Deep Spectra more and more in what we're doing. And I'm excited because that's where it makes the biggest difference internally. And it's something that's unique, it's patented, that we have, that we're continuing to learn about what it does for people. So
which is
super exciting.
So fascinating that, this is technology that when HK finally got to the point of him being able to do it, I remember him rushing upstairs and being like, Mary, we finally were able to do it. We can do it right now. And him showing all the results. And we were like, so what does it mean? And he's like, I don't know. I just know we can do it.
Yeah.
And so just all the research, all the learnings that we've gathered from it, and the clinical trials and the studies that we have upcoming for some of the Deep Spectra products, it is shocking to see. There's one in particular where I hope we launch it at convention next year. I don't know what the timeline looks like, but I've been using it myself and can't say much, but
I think I know what you're talking
in my
about.
Voice, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about it too. I think but we keep coming out with these products that I think are phenomenal products, like the best we've done. And to me, that's exciting and encouraging because your dad always stood for innovation, right? He in the beginning, what he did with blends and starting Young Living with your mom, that was incredible innovation. And I think that's the hallmark of Young Living. We have to continue to innovate. So I'm really encouraged to see really great, interesting really life-changing science and then products based on that science coming out of our R&D team. It just goes to show that legacy lives on.
Yeah.
And the future is very, very bright with Young Living products. So,
and there's still so much more ahead. I look at kind of what you were talking about, like my era, right? And I think of like, okay, what is new? Like, what can we do to be new, look new, bring in new, essentially, right? And I'm like, there's so much that, you know, mom and dad have already done. Like, what does that look like for me? I have to step it up even more. And I think what gave me a lot of hope, I guess, for myself was we did a trip 3 years ago to Peru, and it was an expedition trip, and we'll actually be hopefully launching some of these new botanicals that we discovered, you know, in the next year or two. And I think that was the most shocking part is we kind of went to go retrace some of my dad's steps. He started kind of this path and was looking at these plants and then wasn't ever able to really go back. And so we continued where he let off, and we were there for 2-3 weeks, and we discovered 5 new botanicals that have never been identified before. So we got to name them all. We've got to do testing for them all. We have them as oils now, and they're all wildcrafted. We've worked with the local government to... And that alone, I was like, there's still so much to be explored. There's still so much to see. And like I said, just in the 2 weeks they were there, 5 that have never been identified before. And they were all within a 500-mile radius. And that was just so cool to see.
And now you're creating new standards for those oils. One thing I've come to really appreciate, both through Deep Spectra, through what you're talking about, Seed to Seal, I've always thought first and foremost about Seed to Seal as a quality standard. And it certainly is that. But more and more, I've come to appreciate it as an innovation standard. You know, we were able to do Deep Spectra because we do the seed to seal, like from the beginning to the end. We know about distillation. We know about botanical matter. We know how to do things that nobody else does. Same goes with going out and finding the next generation of oils and plants, life-saving, healing plants. You're scouring the world, and we're still bringing them to people in ways that have never been done before. So. Yeah. That's innovation, right? Like we continue to see that innovation at Young Living, and Seed to Seal, I think, is one of the most impressive pieces of work that I think in particular your dad was really big on.
For sure.
And that's really, again, that's our heritage, and I think it continues to stay. And it's those things that obviously mean that we don't stop progressing. We don't stop growing as we move on to successive generations. We just pick up that banner and carry it forward.
Yeah, it's honestly, I can't think, you know, since Dad's passing that it's really slowed down. If anything, it's ramped up significantly, and it's continuing going at I would say honestly the same pace as what Dad always wanted to do.
Yeah, maybe even more in the last few years. Honestly, like it's fast paced.
Yeah,
but this is also, I think, your dad would do really well in this moment because he was always willing to step into the unknown, right? To challenge things, to be uncomfortable. And that's just what we have to do today. We have to be willing to step into the unknown, be willing to embrace new. Again, innovate, try new things. And today, I think it's more important than ever because the world is moving faster.
Yeah, live life on the edges, he would say.
That's it. We got to move with it. And honestly, the one other thing I'm really excited about is seeing it feels like we've kind of gotten rid of that pandemic funk. Like the post, it was just funny. It changed our lives so dramatically.
It changed
in so many
what
ways.
The norm is.
Yes. And I feels like we are... And I don't think you ever go back to whatever the norm was before, but I think we're growing into the new norm. And you can see it in our business's results. So we've really been turning this corner, and it's great to see some significant recovery around the Young Living world. And next year, you know, looking to 2026, I think we've got some really exciting growth trends in a lot of the places we do business. So it feels like, again, we're stepping into a new season of opportunity for the business. And that means that's also growth for brand partners, which is obviously...
Yeah.
The most important. So,
and it's cool that you talk about how we're in a way like creating a new norm, but going back to what we used to be doing because we're a people business. We're all about people, right? And so during COVID, where we couldn't interact, you know, side by side, face to face, it made it extremely challenging. And then I think in general, just not only within the business, but just day-to-day lives and just in general, a lot of people just disconnected from a lot of different things, right? And I think it was kind of good to step back, reevaluate, look back into it and stuff. But one of the numbers that I was looking at today that was really impressive was just seeing how much more in-person, in-home events that we have going on. And the number is actually close to matching 2019, so right before, which is crazy because, you know, 2020 through 2024, I think everywhere there was just always this decline in-person events, face-to-face events, all of that. Just, there was fear and there was a bunch of other stuff that was going on. And now it's going back to that number that we had prior. And so it's actually been up, I think 6%, year total so far. I know that doesn't seem like much, but at our size, that is a huge number. And so seeing people kind of go back to the basics of just sharing and talking and enjoying the passion of these products, it's exhilarating to see. It's great to see. So.
Yeah, and I think we're remembering that being together is important. I actually think that there's a resurgence in in-person gathering because we need it.
Yeah.
Because as human beings, we're tribal, we're communal, we're best in groups. And groups help us be better. They help us be better as individuals. You think about if I want to establish a good exercise routine, it's easier to do in a group than it is an individual.
Yeah.
Because you hold each other accountable, you lift each other up, you help each other. Business is that way, life is that way. And so I think getting that muscle back is really important. It's important for our mental and emotional health, if nothing else. But I think people are realizing they need it.
Yeah.
And so we're filling a need that people have, which I think gives us opportunity. When people say, I need this tribe helps me feel better. I'm happier, I'm uplifted, I'm seen, I'm valued. That's something everyone needs in their lives. And so seeing us go back to that, I think, is really exciting. And at the same time, we're still innovating because the way people shop is different.
Oh, yeah.
The way we consume information is different. So, you look at the evolution of life in the last 5 years, and some of it, like you say, is going back to the basics, and some of it is doing the basics in different ways. Mm-hmm. I always say, I think back to 1998 when I first started with Young Living, and at the time, we were sharing the business through the missing link cassette tape. Right? I remember pulling the missing link and putting it in boxes and listening to it myself. And now I can't even listen to a cassette tape. I don't know where to play one. But the message is still there, right? We just do it differently.
Yeah.
And growing into those different seasons, I think, is what's really important. Realizing that the in-person connection is still there. How we connect with people, how we communicate, the ways we engage them, the ways they shop with us, the way messages are shared, those things might change. The fundamental values are the same.
Yeah.
How we're doing them can sometimes evolve a little bit. So being willing to try new things, to take risks, to do things we've not done before, to even challenge our assumptions, to me, that's what innovation is about.
And to take back the standard, too. I think that's the other thing is for so long, there's just never been a clear identifier of what the standard should look like. Mm-hmm. And so being able to kind of set that or do our best attempt to set it, too. So
that's shown by, so in our R&D team, I don't know if our people know this, but we have the first herbarium that matches botanicals to essential oil standards.
Yep.
That didn't exist before.
No.
And so we have the largest library in the world. Just like you were saying, we're finding new oils, and then we're creating the standards around what those oils should be through our experience. So it's really cool when you realize that we continue to lead from the front and can help define what healthy is, to show people what good oils look like, and then be able to say, well, that's not a good oil because you can compare them.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to what you've seen throughout this year and what you're excited for next year, is there anything that you can kind of pinpoint to this year specifically that was almost a little jarring and shocking, but then you realize how valuable of a learning point it was? The reason why I ask that is because I think it's really important for people to realize that throughout the year, especially when we're talking about a new year, you set New Year goals, resolutions, and stuff. And some people always set their goals either, one, too big, too aspirational, or they create like bare minimum goals because they're afraid to almost fail at achieving that bigger goal. I think what I learned over the years, especially in the last 2-3 years, is sometimes failure is a part of the growth, which is so important. My dad and mom, they always were like, it is okay to fail. You're going to fail. And sometimes that's the best way to learn. And so I wouldn't necessarily say what have you looked at this year that was an utter failure, but we learned so much from it. But kind of something to walk away from and just be like, we're prepped for next year. We're ready for next year. Is there anything that you can kind of pinpoint to that?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it's interesting because when you set goals at the beginning of the year, you think you know what a year is going to look like.
Yeah.
And realistically, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. So I think what I've come to appreciate is the need to consistently kind of revisit and revise where necessary. So this is something we've learned, I think, in this past year, is that we don't just need an annual plan as a business, and to be honest, for us personally as well. If you're setting annual goals for yourself, I think it's important to set those goals, but then revisit those goals regularly. For us, we do quarterly business reviews as a way to look at the business as we expect it to be and say, because we put together a forecast at the beginning of the year. It's how we do our budgeting. And then kind of benchmark ourselves to say, this is what we think we're going to do based on our current trend. And then we kind of revisit it. And we do it every quarter, so every 3 months. And I think that's really important to do in every case, because what we learn every quarter is that didn't work. Like maybe this incentive that we ran didn't work the way we thought it would. Or you have some breadcrumbs you can follow where you say, wow, this was really a good program and we could build on that. Or this is a way that we've done things a little bit differently. We feel like is that either it's working or we need to refine and improve. So to me, I think a big thing is constantly be refining and revising and not be afraid of that, to kind of say, all right, here's where I thought it would be when I started the year. 3 months in, here's what I've learned. Here's what I'm going to do differently to pivot, even though I'm still working towards the same end outcome. It might look a little bit different. I might be doing something different. I might be growing differently through it. So that's one thing that comes to mind. And there are so many of those things, Jacob. Like you say this a lot, that it's actually the journey that matters, right? It's not even actually the destination. And I guess that's my feeling is I used to think if I solved my problems today, I wouldn't have problems tomorrow. That's not the way life works. I just have new problems. My hope is that by solving today's problems, I'm more capable of solving tomorrow's problems, right? That I'm better at it, that over time I'm growing so that in the inevitable next day of what I call problems, but that's actually opportunities to be better, opportunities to grow. So
1% better each day.
Yeah. Just trying to grow through that and then be better at solving my problems moving forward and in the end be a better person because of it.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to kind of a new year, you always set this almost kind of like a guideline, like a theme of what you're expecting to do. And I think it's good to share with everybody not only, well, and I'll leave this up to you, but from a business perspective, obviously, and then from a personal perspective. What's your thoughts there, and what would you say that theme is like when we're looking at 2026?
So turning our sights to 2026, I love New Year's. I know that New Year's resolutions kind of get a bad rap because it's kind of like you set your resolutions and you forget about them a couple of days later. But I think it's really great to take a step back and kind of evaluate where you are in your life and just kind of say, okay, this is what this year looked like. Here's the good that I'm really grateful for, the things I want to embrace. Here's the hard that I grew through. And then you turn your sights to 2026 and say, like, who do I want to be in 2026? What do I want to work on in 2026? And the same goes for our business. As I look at Young Living, we are really well and truly, as I said, in a good position, I think, where we've been able to, I think, finally wrap our heads and our business around this post-pandemic world, how consumers are consuming, how they're shopping, making sure we're bringing the right technology and putting it in the hands of our brand partners.
That's only been a little bit of a pain point for us.
Just a little, the last decade. Finally, though, we have technology, first of all, I think that helps us leapfrog a lot of the technical debt we've been laboring under, and the right leadership and the right platforms to be able to do that for us. We've realized that we're not a technology company.
Yep.
Right? We're the best in the world at oils. We're the best in the world at natural products. We're not the best in the world at doing technology.
Yep.
But there are people, companies that are. And so by creating partnerships with those companies, we let them focus on what they're best at, and we stay focused on what we're best at.
That's why Olio, if you haven't downloaded it already, has been a major and huge success to many. Mm-hmm. Just what we're seeing with Olio and how people have been using it has just been great. It's doing exactly what we built it and designed it to do, and we're so happy with that. And then, of course, we have the new global shopping platform right around the corner for next year as well, too, which is just so beautiful and so great
and so needed. I know that
so
people
needed.
I mean, in the U.S., I think our site is reasonably good. Some may, but I think it's pretty good. A lot of the international brand partners have been dealing with some pretty subpar e-commerce technology. So I'm really excited for them to experience that. It also unlocks a lot of digital marketing capabilities we haven't had that gives us a chance to be a better partner to brand partners to say, hey, if someone's abandoned a cart, we can remind them. We can see some of those things and help kind of get them across the line in some cases. So that's super exciting. And I'll just add an additional plug for Olio because not only is it a great platform today, it's actually what it's going to be in the future that I'm extremely excited about. It's just going to get better and better.
Because it's a live model, so it's constantly being updated, constantly being enhanced. Mm-hmm. And there's tons of, I think since we launched it at convention, we've had about 5 different features get added every single month. And that's a lot of development, a ton of development. I don't really know how to put it into words or explain it in simple like English terms, but it is hundreds of thousands of hours of like coding that's really complex. And like I said, we've gotten a great and amazing feedback from it, and it's just continuing to evolve.
And when people use it, the thing I'm really excited about with Olio is we're able to use the data to inform future features and benefits. So what we've done in the past with technology that sometimes gets us into trouble is we try to guess what people want, and we might get 80% of the way there, but you want to get 100, right? And I feel like what we're able to do by following people's behaviors is actually give them behaviorally driven and informed features and benefits. So seeing how people use it means we can actually strengthen the platform itself. So download it if you haven't already. Please hop on, use it. Just have fun with it. And we'll learn just by you having fun and using it. My long-term goal is for you to have a really strong business partner in your pocket on your phone.
Yeah.
Basically a virtual coach that tells you what's going on in your business, helps you value your time, make the most of that time, and give you the best return on the time you spend in your business.
Yeah. And it's funny, since we launched it at convention, we had a AI assistant tool that we like nicknamed Coach Young.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it struggled a little bit, but now that so many more people have used it and it's been able to kind of learn off of that, and it's knowledgeable in all things Young Living. It's not like a Chat GPT where it has everything. It's just Young Living based. But now that I was just using it the other day at an event and I was kind of live showcasing it, I was like, yeah, check this out. And I was like, what is lavender, and like what do people usually use it for? And it gave me, I think, 3,000 different results within about a minute. Exact videos, timelines, pictures. I mean, we could be here all day talking about it. But it's like, it's just, that's the thing that's so exciting, is because it is a live thing that can constantly update and improve, just how much it has improved in such a short period of time.
And I think you and I both know some of the additional features coming that are really exciting. So it's worth checking out. It's worth using and checking regularly, because you'll see regular improvements. It'll get better and better.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting. But I'm also really excited about new for 2026. We talk a lot about this, but when I look at there are basically two generations that have really been profound in this company. The first is the OG team that joined with your mom and dad in the early days, the 90s, early 2000s, where essential oils were brand new. People didn't know about them really much at all. And so there was a lot of education required, a lot of hand-holding, a lot of teaching, and a lot of passion for oils. And that really was the foundation upon which this company has been built. I could name names. I'd be afraid of leaving people out. But we have a lot of really incredible leaders, legacy leaders that have been with us for 30-plus years, without whom, they're the giants on whose shoulders we stand to be where we are today. That includes your mom and your dad. So that's the first generation. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Then the next generation is about my generation. It's started out as the mommy bloggers and eventually the Facebook marketers and the Instagrammers. That's the next generation who were looking for better alternatives for their families, were learning about oils and really excited about those, started teaching others, fitting them in the in-between spaces between mothering and growing a family, and at the same time teaching and growing a business. And we had incredible growth through that generation, my generation, kind of Gen X, older millennial. I feel like that was the second wave of growth at Young Living. And now I think we're into yours, the Gen Zs. And figuring out as a company, how do we make sure we're catching this next season of opportunity and even more resonating in the lives of people, so that our oils are in their homes, our products are in their homes. We're giving them opportunities and options. The thing I love about Young Living is not only do the products change your life, and now more than ever as important as I actually think a lot of our health markers are starting to decline.
Yeah.
In fact, average lifespan has actually gone down a little bit in the last few years.
First time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And that we have enough knowledge and access to these life-giving supplements and botanicals to where that doesn't have to be the case. So teaching families, especially at a young age, how to live healthier, better lives. And families are becoming more and more conscientious about toxins and things you bring into your home. So
I know my generation is especially that way, which is shocking. Because I remember, back in high school, like there was not a care in the world for anything when it came to, how to be better with your health. And nowadays, I look at my generation, and I used to get made fun of for being what my mom called label reader, right? Reading what's on the back of the label, knowing where the ingredients are from, all of that. And now that's actually kind of a norm, which is really funny to think about. It's fun to see friends my age who are becoming conscious, and they're reaching out to me being like, hey, I need like help with this. Like, do you have any products for that? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I'll just be that person. I love that we're finally making our labels more modern. I will always appreciate that a lot of the older labels that we had were actually hand-drawn by mom and dad and designed by mom and dad.
Yeah.
But to get to where we need to be right now, I've always told them for such a long time, I was like, look, we have amazing products like internally. It's so much harder to sell them when we don't have an appealing label, like regardless of what's inside it. Yeah. And now since making that shift, just seeing, like I said, a lot of my friends my age who are paying attention to the labels and they're like, I actually want to try that now. I'm like, okay, it's been the same thing. The last like 18 times you asked me, it's just a different label now. Yeah. And that's been really, really encouraging to see, is we're making those right steps and stuff and introducing the younger audience.
And well. I remind myself, I think those of us in my generation and even older generation have to remember that these labels are actually not for us. They're for you. They're for your generation today. Yeah. I know the good that's in those bottles. And the branding shouldn't be for me. It should be for, I think our core target demographic is a young mother who has children and wants to still make a contribution professionally, not just spend all of her time talking to her 2-year-old. And we attract some incredibly talented, capable women because of that, because they want to be able to have a profession on their own terms. And of course, there's all the good of products that are better for your family, helping other people to achieve their goals, creating the type of financial freedom and independence that people are looking for, or even, to be honest, let's just talk real for people in your generation. It's harder to buy a home today than ever before. My generation and even before that, you could assume that you're going to have the American dream, or to be honest, it's not just American dreams. I know you have more than an American audience. The dream of being able to own your own home and to have your own space in the world that you can call your own. That's harder today than it's ever been. Yeah. And unless Gen Zs find other avenues to get there, that's why the gig economy is growing. It's because they're looking for alternatives, because the 9 to 5 it's not getting them there. Yeah. And so I think that we offer a really great income opportunity for people, and they need it, to be honest. That when you're in your 20s and 30s, you've got a young growing family, that's a driving need.
Yeah. I always tell people, I was like, we offer 2 amazing products. We offer the product side, but then we also offer the business opportunity. And just start the products and then decide for yourself if you want to build a business. I think so many people who don't understand us only see it from the business side. And I was like, we actually have a lot more people that just buy product and just use it on a daily basis, right? Yeah. But it's so amazing that we have that opportunity, that my parents saw that opportunity so many years ago, and it's been standing strong for the longest time. And to even add another point to that, we are the only, as I know of right now, from what I've been able to tell, the only business in the entire industry that's been able to marry and adopt an affiliate marketing model through Wild and tied into the back end of multi-level marketing as well. The only one that's had success.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of others try. I think the way Gaia, your mom, approached this is really clever, because it can be its own standalone affiliate opportunity. But if you're the Young Living brand partner, you get the benefits of a network marketing compensation plan, which is a big deal, right? Like that's how you truly make income that I think is meaningful. Otherwise, the problem with affiliate marketing is you're just selling. Lots and lots of selling.
I think a lot of people don't understand that, because I used to do affiliate marketing way back in the day with Amazon. I had my own Amazon stores and my own sponsorships and links and stuff like that. And what I quickly realized is those are not customers for life. Those are one-time buyers. And so you're constantly looking for new customers all the time. Yeah. And I can confidently say that it is, in a way, much harder. They're very similar in many different ways, but you're constantly looking for new.
Well, I would just say, I think the biggest opportunities and what I'm most excited about is this next generation, your generation that we're moving into. So as a business, I think we have to be thinking a lot about how do we resonate, how do we present ourselves in a way that's attractive to a 25, 30, 35-year-old person, especially women, but men too. We all have a place here.
I love that we've been much better at onboarding guys, and I'm crossing my fingers. I have some plans in the works to give some guys some stuff to be really excited about. Obviously, we did Oils and Iron, which has been a huge success.
Yep.
We reintroduced Iron Will at the men's camp, which we're doing every other year, which has also been a great success. But to give the guys, don't want to say too much, their own labels, their own packaging, like masculine-looking stuff is super exciting for me. So I've got stuff hopefully in the works and hopefully something coming in the next few years for guys. But to see, like I said, friends that are my age that are guys that are actually wanting to understand the products, use the products is super exciting. We just celebrated one of our newest diamonds, a little bit ago, and her husband, very questionable about the products in the beginning, and now he's like an avid user and he's so on board with it, and he's like, I want to get more guys into this. Like, I absolutely love it. His favorite product right now is Core to Stop.
Yeah.
Absolutely loves it. And then his wife was an eye doctor,
Yep.
and so they love Luminize too.
Yep.
So that's really positive and encouraging to me. But yeah, exactly. We need to be thinking of the next generation and looking to the next generation, and we're having decent success, but we still have a ways to go. So
yeah, and I think men are really good at our business. We generally are a little bit slower. We're a little bit less intuitive, I'd say, with our health as women are. But I'd say even more, women are usually the caretakers. So if a woman is caretaking children, that means a few things. One, she's really mindful of her environment. So what is she bringing into her home? And I think you have a child and immediately you start thinking, I don't know that I want bleaches. I don't know that I want some of these really harsh chemicals, both being exposed to my family, my child especially, but also sitting in my kitchen sink where they could get at it, right?
Yeah.
So you start to really think about that. And at the same time, a lot of women, if they're caretakers, they're not working a full-time job because they're looking after a little one in the early days. To be honest, if us guys were in that position, we might be more inclined to do a home-based business.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's just who's the breadwinner who's going out and trying to like pay the bills, and then who's kind of working on the family future. This is the way it works in my family. My wife, I work full-time here. My wife works on her business. That's our family stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think most families do, and as guys step into more of those caretaking roles, I think there's a place for us. And I love seeing the men's community grow. We've got a really vibrant men's oiling community. Great, like really good men, shared values, those types of communities that I think are really important to, again, human happiness.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, we've talked about wellness and the products and the innovation there and what we're excited about. We've talked about the opportunity, which is, I think, more important and compelling than ever as inflation continues to go up, real wages are not. So people are feeling like just squeezed more and more financially, which means having that plan B, the side hustle, is more important than it's ever been, giving people choices and ways to get out of that loop, that rat race.
And to that point with the opportunity, we've had more opportunities than ever before because of technology, because where we are with the modern day, all the new innovation when it comes to the products. Like I look at everything that people had in the past, and it's slim in comparison to what we have now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why when some people ask, well, I'm not sure if I can do it, I always say, you really have nothing to lose by just trying, just starting.
Yeah, and so I just feel like we've got lots of opportunities on those fronts. Better tools than we've ever had. To be honest, better products than we've ever had.
Yes.
We just keep learning and getting better and better at developing products that really make a difference in people's lives. But the last thing, we've kind of already touched on this, but the community and what we can offer people with a community of people that see you, that value you, that celebrate you. I just think this is the missing link in human happiness today. We live more abundantly. We have more resources than any generation leading up to this point by a lot. And yet depression's up. Anti-anxiety medication is way up. Just people are clearly not thriving the way we should be, considering the amount of abundance in this world. Yeah. And I think the missing link is that community, that purpose. Purpose is necessary for human happiness.
The connection, yeah.
You come to Young Living, and there's just purpose abounding between the foundation and the way we change people's lives, especially children, but also breathing life into somebody that joins your team, maybe a customer who's looking for a different way of addressing health needs. The meaning and the purpose that you can find here, and as we go out and empower wellness, purpose, and abundance in people's lives, it's incredible. Like it's real. It's what I love most about this business is we are changing people's lives one person at a time. And you take a profound message when you go to someone and say, hey, what's going on in your life and how can I help?
Yeah.
And when I look at what we have to offer Young Living, we've got so many different ways that we can help someone live a better life. And I love that about our community is it's a community of people who are not taking what life has given them, but intentionally authoring a life, like saying, this is what matters to me. I'm going to be empowered to make it happen, and I'm part of a company and a community that helps me to get there. And to me, that's the meaning that a lot of people are missing. And it's more important today than ever that we're sharing that message with people.
I love it. Every time that we do what we call the word board, and it's basically when we send out kind of like reviews or just anything in general where people can kind of submit their feedback or information, we always get this word board back. And I think it's one of like Jeremy's favorite ways of presenting, but it's this big picture. And the more people talk about it in a enthusiastic way, the bigger the word is. So you'll have one big picture and it has like 50 different words in there, 75 different words. But the one that is always the biggest and stands out the most across the rest of the words, like you'll have a tiny little word that's something like, I specifically like Zing, and it'll be in the bottom left. But right smack dab in the middle, as big as it possibly can be, it is every single time we do this, community.
Yep. Community and purpose. Like those are the big words in the word cloud where you're like, wow, this is what drives it. And there was another question we did in this year's strategic survey that was really interesting. It asked brand partners. We said, those building a business, do you feel successful?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, only about a quarter said, yeah, I feel successful. And if you ask the ones why they didn't feel successful, it was mostly based upon metrics like, I'm not making as much money as I would like, or I'm not the rank I want to be, or I'm not maintaining the rank the way I want to, or whatever, right? That was kind of the way they were viewing it. But those who said that they were successful, when they said, why, we asked, why do you feel successful? It's because I help change people's lives. I have life-changing products that make a difference in my life and the lives of those around me. I love my team. I love the people I do this with. I help people. It was all purpose-driven. And I realized that the way we define success and view what matters in life is really important. Your mom talks about abundance all the time. And to me, that's the abundance, realizing that I'm not here just to hit a rank or make a certain amount of money, but I'm here to create meaning.
Yeah.
And when you create meaning, you create value. And value has abundance attached to it. Right? Like your mom always says, we don't chase the dollar. And what I've come to appreciate more and more is that what she really means is we don't do things for the money. We do things because they create the value. And when you create the value, the money comes too. Right? Of course we need money. Of course we've got to pay our bills. We all have aspirations. We want to take care of our families. That's all really important. You just have to put it in the proper order. The proper order is create value. The money will follow you. Don't try to create the money and then find the value.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about that. It's so much to the point that I actually made a Oils and Iron shirt based off of it, that purpose drives passion.
Yeah.
When you have a why, you don't need a how. And our why changes all the time. I've talked about this at a few different events. And I think some people almost get discouraged by their why or their purpose changing from time to time. It should. It can change on a daily basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis, whatever it may be. For everyone, it's different. But I remember years ago, if I look at my why from then compared to now, they're not really identical. They're similar in some instances. Like I think the baseline, the foundation is very similar. But how I objectively get to that or how I think about it or process it is very, very different.
Well, I find as you grow, it's kind of I think about it like climbing a mountain. So when I'm at the base, I look around and I've got an aspiration, but my aspiration is limited by my elevation. Like what can I actually see from where I am? And the more I climb, the more expansive my vision. And so I feel like I think back to my 20-year-old self, and my dreams for my life were much more modest because, in some ways I wanted to change the world like every 20-year-old does. But I also couldn't imagine being in a role like I'm in today at Young Living. I was in the warehouse. Like I was working in the warehouse at the time. So the idea that I could be here doing what I'm doing today was a level of elevation that was really beyond my comprehension at the time. But as I continue to climb in my life, in my career, you realize you can expand that vision. You realize that we generally think smaller than we should.
Yeah.
Your dad's probably an exception to that. You probably are too. But for most of us, we as we elevate, and I think for a brand partner, thinking about myself as a Silver, when I'm a star, is, it's a big step. Diamond, that's a big step. But then next thing you know, you keep consistently doing the work, you turn around and realize how far you've come and how much you've grown and how I said this to a group of leaders the other day. I said, think back to the first Young Living paycheck you received and how much was it? And for some people, it was like $50. Some got a couple of $100, whatever. And then fast forward to today, do you make more than you did on your first paycheck? Of course. They all do.
Yeah.
But it helps to look back and remember what it was like the first step to realize maybe you saw the tip of that iceberg, but what they've been able to do subsequent to that is really inspiring when you elevate your sights.
Yeah.
You kind of like have a bigger vision for yourself and realize that 2026 can be the best year I've ever had, and I can dream bigger and do more because of what I did in 2025.
I love it. Well, Ben, I appreciate your passion, your insight, and just everything that you do, and it really energizes me, and I hope everybody else that's listening as well for 2026. And one thing I really do want to share is when it comes to setting your eyes on new or being better or doing something different to achieve the better, it doesn't always have to start at the beginning of the year. And I think a lot of people push it back to like, I'll start at Monday, right? Or I'll start next year or next month, right? You can make that change at any point in time. But it is, of course, easier with a new year and a fresh start. So once again, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. It's always an honor. And once again, always so difficult to follow up after you when you talk.
Whatever. I hope I get a call back. I hope this isn't the last podcast. Thanks for having me on, Jacob. I love the podcast. I'm a regular listener. I love this community. I love what we do. I love working with you. And I'm really excited for this new year together. I'm excited we're working really closely together. And I know that we've got some of our best days ahead. So excited to be spending them with you.
Yes. Thank you all so much for listening, and hope to have you back on soon, Ben.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning into this episode of The Wild Drop. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on YouTube, our website, which is www.youngliving.com, and of course, check out the podcasts on our brand new Olio app today. That is Olio by Young Living on the Apple and Google Store. Don't forget to oil up Young Living family. This is Jacob Young, dropping out. Take care.